All right. How's it going, guys?
Awesome, ready to roll.
Ready to roll.
Not bad, not bad. Thank you.
All right, so I'll just share. I put together an agenda for the day. Okay, so some product updates, comms drops, updates from Masha on the Rarible side, an announcement on some new calls for the community, and then team updates from any teams building on the protocol. Updates to the rare distribution. So I've been working on this in the community chats. So I wanted to share kind of what we're thinking there and get people's thoughts on that. And then just go over some proposals briefly. So on the product update side of things, there's not much. I mean, there's a lot going on, but Alex is away, so I don't know exactly all the details, so not much to announce. But Rarible.com is still planning on being deployed on the protocol in a week or two. That's kind of the time frame. Right now, there's Ropsten.rarible.com is the version of Rarible that's on the protocol. So if you guys want to test it out, you guys can see progress. There's still a lot of bugs, so they're working through things to get everything working and functioning as expected. But they're making good progress there. And then this week, next week, they're making a big push on documentation to make it a lot easier for projects building on the protocol. That's kind of what we have there. Any questions?
Yeah, is there a difference between the Ropsten.rarible and the Rinkeby.rarible?
Yeah, so Ropsten is just the version that's on the protocol, whereas Rinkeby is like the test net for Rarible.com right now.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. All right. I don't know if Masha's here. I can't see everyone, but if you are, okay, not here, so that's fine. We'll go back to that if there's any updates. I'll put it at the end here. Oops. An announcement on so there's a few more calls I added to the calendar for the we have a shared calendar for the community calls, or the Rarible calendar. I'll share that right now. Let me just get it in my calendar. If you want to add our calls to your calendar, here's the link. Sorry, there's still people coming in here, so it's a bit distracting. So if you want to add the calendar to yours, here's the link. And I added 2 calls, one on Tuesday, one on Wednesday, to go over proposals. So what we were doing internally with Rarible is going over the proposals. I was going over them with Alex and Alexi, and we were, essentially criticizing the proposals and trying to see, like how they can be improved and things like that. And the idea was, instead of doing that, behind closed doors, and just have a call so that anybody can join, they can see what our thinking are around proposals, and we can start thinking more critically about proposals and how to improve them. So those are the calls we added to the calendar. So if you guys want to talk about proposals or see kind of what we're thinking, please join. That's that announcement. And then let's see what else we got here. Team updates. So a few team updates here. ReNFT, Mintgate, and Creator Collective. So one of you guys want to go first?
Yeah, I can hop in for ReNFT.
Cool. So just some quick updates. We obviously received our Rari funding yesterday, which is super exciting. We've already kind of begun the hiring process for a full-time front ender, and we're narrowing down. So that's super exciting. We on ReNFT's actual side, we are aiming for a mainnet launch in the next kind of few coming weeks here. I'm just waiting on some finalization about a few of our different launch mechanisms. And we've kind of begun rather putting together a full framework of how we'll go about this Rarible integration and the flow. So hopefully by next week, we should have more of a finalized flow on the integration. And right after ReNFT mainnet launch, our next immediate task is then integrating directly with Rarible. So that process should take about a month once we go live or so. So yeah, super exciting.
Very exciting. Any questions or anything? What do you guys want to see rented?
Yeah, definitely.
What do you guys want to
Eager
rent?
to
I mean,
hear.
yeah. Do you guys like want to have feedback, or like what? Does anyone here want to rent any NFTs? If so,
I want to rent out some mangoes for sure.
Oh, you want to rent out mangoes?
There we go. Gaming assets, kind of anything come to mind, and always nice to hear kind of initial ideas.
I think maybe right now we don't have that many uses like straight linked to the NFT, so at least that come to mind. But something cool that I heard once is like, imagine you have one NFT, you know, it's a special like limited edition collection, but that one allows you to create other NFTs, right? So only the owners of that NFT can create like the second, say, tier, right? So if you want to mint a couple, but you don't want to buy the NFT right away, you could rent it, mint the second tier NFTs, and then return it, right? But you kept the second tier NFTs on your wallet.
Huh. Interesting. Yeah, that kind of almost reminds me of, you know, like one of our main ideas was around sort of even like rented access NFTs. And that could be super interesting there as well. But very cool.
Actually, Mintgate might be interested in that for access tokens where people could rent it out. I also know there's a game I'm talking to that is really interested in rentals. So I think there's a lot of cool use cases that are going to be emerging. And Roberto, I mean, I every time you speak, there's like some cool beats in the background. I'm thinking maybe we should just have like beats going in the background of our calls.
Oh God, I'm sorry. I didn't know you heard them. But they're
No,
pretty
it's
cool.
awesome. I actually like it. It's cool. All right. Who else we got? Mintgate, you guys want to give a little update?
Yeah, so I think that's a really cool idea with like renting NFTs. Like, so what we do at Mintgate is we like allow people to token gate like websites, videos, YouTube videos, you know, chats, anything online, any website you'd want. And so like, you know, renting an NFT that gives you access to something temporarily is kind of a cool idea for like, you know, maybe a collab there. But what we are planning on launching this week, and we're finalizing actually just now in the next couple of days, are React drag and drop or drop and play widgets, so that you can just kind of like, you know, drop these widgets into your app and then have this token gating feature available to anyone that you want, and also making APIs accessible if you want to do it more programmatically. As far as the Rarible integration, I was having an issue with the minting through the contracts because of generating the ID. I was getting a 404 error, but I was able to solve that. And so now I'm back on track to be able to actually get that done. We're focused more on the actual like minting side of things for people. So just making it so people can mint through, you know, on Mintgate, but using like the Rarible like contracts, using their structure. We're using a custom contract because we don't use IPFS. But once we have minting available, we would then move towards like integrating the marketplace. But minting, I think, is like the most like, you know, in-demand feature that we have currently. And then also we'll be announcing that we have a full protection over YouTube videos now. Whereas before you could like, share them because YouTube has like internal share features. We now kind of like found a way to work around that. So they're completely obscured and you can't share YouTube videos if you token gating them with our token protected pages system. So those are kind of the big highlights for this week.
So wait, so if I have a YouTube video and I share the link through the token protected pages of Mintgate, someone wouldn't be able to take that URL and share it outside?
Correct. We previously like what you could do, like, and then we do this for everything where like if you take a link from something and then you put it into our system, it'll generate a new link. And when you share that new link, anyone who clicks it and has the token that you specified will land on like it could be like we use a proxy CDN fleet. So it could be like what do you call it? I'm blanking on the term actually, but it's just like, this little like, we like have this little area where you can go and it's like kind of semi-hosted, or it's like an iPlayer effectively. And the URL that is then shown is like obscured, but you could like dive into the source code and like, find it like previously with YouTube, and YouTube has like, share features built into the videos. But what Jonathan was able to do was like find a way of like mirroring these videos onto IPFS. So then all the source code and all that like, information that would have like had the original URL is now just not there anymore. And so like YouTube videos are now fully protected. And that was like a previous like issue we were dealing with, but yeah.
Very cool. So who are you going to be targeting first for that kind of stuff?
We're working with like a few different people for partnerships. So we recently had the DAO House integration with one of their plugins. We're working with Sushi NFT now to get like a system like working for them as well. And we have like some investors that we've been talking to who are interested in connecting us with like Dapper Labs. We recently found like this really cool library that allows us to add support for token gating on like 64 different chains because they're all EVM compatible. So it's just like, all the data for that. And then we just kind of plug that in. So we will be adding support for 64 different like blockchains, which most of them like I've never even heard of. But so that's a big one for Flow in order to be able to like, best work with like Dapper Labs and anything they're building with NBA Top Shot. And that'd be super cool if we could like, collab with them. We're also working with these guys, what are they called? Run Gum, which is a Web 2 company. And they do like just like caffeinated gum, but they're interested in using our system as like a rewards point system and like, token gating certain access to a portion of their website where like their CEO used to be like an Olympian and he would like sign like some of their stuff. And so only people who hold this token or claim this token with a claim link that we could generate could then go there and buy that like, particular product. And there'd only be a limited amount of them. And that's a use case that we see a lot of people really interested in using, access for on their own, websites for companies. And that's why we've been targeting like DAOs and like, companies and projects more than like individual creators, because it's just a little bit more easier for them to integrate, more intuitive for them to use.
That's great.
Thank you.
Yeah, cool stuff. Any questions or anything? Natalie, do you want to give an update on what you were working on?
I had a short
Sure.
question, sorry. What do you use instead of IPFS?
We're currently using our own database right now because that just makes for a better UX experience. In order to move quickly, we've decided to just use this instead of like, initially integrating with IPFS. And as we continue to scale, get funding and move forward, we would progress into IPFS, because a lot of the tools for the ecosystem aren't developed out well enough for us to provide the best UX experience. So.
Got it, thank you.
All right, Natalie, you want to give an update on what happened with the Creator Collective and what your plans are and stuff like that?
Yeah, I'm joined here actually, Jorge, who's joined us for the first time. He's part of Creator Collective, and also I believe Mark is listening in. So they're both part of Creator Collective. So about 2 weeks ago, we finished up our first ever campaign, which was the Earth Day NFT campaign. And we worked with Rarible, who sent out a call for artists, and we got over 130 artists submitted their work, which was awesome. We did a Google form and people joined our Discord, and through there, we, communicated with them as well. And we posted all their work on Twitter and on Instagram. So there was a lot of like great feedback from that. We did have a couple of like, people wondering about, the irony behind it. But overall, most of the community was super supportive, and it was a real, people were really stoked. Artists were really happy to be part of something and to participate. And since then, Jorge and Mark and I have been working on other, our next steps, and some of which is we really want to focus on like a lot of content creation to help artists, onboard them and just educate them about the platform in general. So we want to do community building, present opportunities, especially building connections with a lot of collaborations. Like I've been meeting on my own with people like recently with a movie director who wants to to find artists for their campaign. And also another campaign we're thinking of doing is working with actually Jorge, who is a gallery landowner in Decentraland. We're working on a launch for their gallery, and we're going to maybe do another campaign to maybe pick 2 artists who get to show their work in that Decentraland launch, which would be really cool. So basically just like, and another thing I really want to work on too is helping artists understand the ecosystem as a whole and teaching them how to be a collector as well and how to eventually create their own project. So things like that I think really fascinate me and I think is needed, and especially helping the emerging artists. That to me is really cool. Jorge, do you want to say anything?
Yes, I just, well, hello everyone, it's first time here. I just wanted to say that, yeah, she's correct. Something that I found, for example, in running around with talking with artists, whether it is on my Discord server on Creator Collective, is that many are new, many are new and actually are exploring, for example, Discord. So we have to kind of guide them, make sure that they understand how to use Discord, make sure that they understand how to use Rarible, for example. On my end, I'm trying to incorporate Rarible for a bot on Discord, actually. So we're testing that. It looks very good, and I think it helps artists, especially because I see that many artists want to promote their art, which is pretty amazing, because you get to see different types of art. And I'm seeing that also in Creative Collective, which is super. So we're just trying to, like she said, make some more content and keep the artists engaged, because I feel like by engagement, then more people pass the word around, like, oh, we're creating this cool stuff, so yeah, that's what we're working on right now.
And we do plan on doing our own newsletter as well, and doing a summary of everything for the artists. And I've been individually talking to a lot of them about what kind of things they want to do in the future as well. But yeah, overall, the first campaign was like, I thought a huge success, and everybody was stoked and are really wanting more.
Could you share some of the art that was created? I'd love to see kind of.
Sure. Hold on. Let me just open up our Instagram real quick. Is that cool?
Yeah, for sure. I think you can share your screen.
Let me just.
All right. Do you want me to share the Excel file quickly?
Yeah, we can open that one up, or we can just go to, hold on a second, let me just open this up. Sorry, things are being a little slow here. Sometimes Instagram takes a minute to load on my end.
Sorry for putting you on the spot. I just thought it'd
No,
be
that's
cool.
cool. No, it's cool. Like there was such a huge range of art, which was cool. You see, like, some people are so brand new, they're just like, experimenting with just like throwing up whatever they can. A lot of them had a lot of difficulties, even minting. So I spent a lot of time helping people, walking them through the process, so basically they thought I was Rarible. So I tried my best to be like, hey, go on Discord, just telling them what kind of resources they could go to. Hold on one sec.
Right here, I got you. I'm putting here the link for the Excel. If you go to the Excel sheet, you're gonna see the amount of entries that we have for the competition. I hope you can click on them.
I think let me try to open up the Instagram. I think is probably the easiest way. Hold on.
Easiest, okay.
I don't know why it's not loading on here.
Well, if you give me you got it? Okay, sweet.
Okay, cool. Let me just share. So I'll show some of my favorites. Yeah, we had a huge range from 3D to yeah. Here's one of the cool ones right here.
Very cool.
And let me show a couple more. Some of them were, again, a full range of like, you know, some of the more established artists, some of them more emerging. Some have sold, a lot of them haven't sold their first collections. Let me show another fun one. This one was, people really liked. So again, a full range of reasonings behind it and what they wanted to do, so one of the cool things I thought is a lot of the artists were already doing their own kind of fundraising, not fundraising, but like awareness building NFTs. So it was a lot of them were like, oh, this is perfect. I just created one along this particular issue. So I encourage you guys to head over to the Instagram and just check out some of the art there. I put, you know, all of them took a lot of time and just, you know, their stories behind why they created it. And it's worth looking into each one of them. But yeah, like, let's see, scroll down. There's this guy here, he donates, you know, this was even prior to this campaign, donated a portion of proceeds to his particular, I think it's for the Rhino fundraising. So yeah, anyhow. But definitely it's fun to go in here and just look around and see. But most of these artists are again, excited to see what other things we have for them. And it seems like a lot of people, you know, other companies and other connections did reach out just from this, wanting to do more. And we also connected with Offsetera. So they're actually part of the Discord channel, just helping educate people about carbon offset and how to do that, and just, you know, opening up that conversation. So
Very cool. Thanks, Natalie. Thanks for sharing.
Guys, one quick question I have for the team. Like, what do you see is maybe like the point from minting? Like, you're getting a lot of people who are not familiar with crypto, and you're getting them to mint, like post their first NFT. Like, what do you see is the most common like problem or like, yeah, barrier that you encounter?
they have a lot of MetaMask issues, and like, and another issue they have is when they're actually, let's say, minting an animation, that GIF, like sometimes they have a video and then they have a GIF they have to load. A lot of times that GIF will be broken, or the technical issues of actually uploading it, the files being too big, too small, all those kind of things. Like one guy, he minted it, he had to burn his like 2 or 3 times because it was broken. So he doesn't want like something that you can't even view on his profile. So just helping, I mean, I helped probably like 3 or 4 different artists with that process. And some of them, again, were just experimenting with, this is the first time I'm doing a video, and they had this issue for the first time. So the majority were already on the platform, but maybe like 10% were brand new, which is cool. But most of them had never posted anything specifically about like an Earth Day idea or theme. So
Awesome. Great to know that. Maybe one thing that could save the gas cost, like, comes to mind, like trying to mint first in like testnet, make sure that the video is showing well, like the GIF is showing well, before going for mainnet.
no, that would be great.
Yeah, and I mean, I want to say something at least from my end, because you know, the first site that I ever used for minting an NFT was actually Rarible, and I was trying to look for, you know, how to do it, and you know, I couldn't find, maybe, I don't know if that was just me. I mean, if I think about it as a beginner, you know, because this was like, I think 2 months ago or 3 months ago, as a beginner, I was looking into information on how to mint it, and I couldn't really find like a really good explanation on how to mint it. And then I did have troubles, just like Natalie said, which is when I was trying to, it was a video file, but for some random reason, my video file, it was an MP4, it uploaded it and I minted it, and then it just came out as a broken kind of link. I'm not sure if it
From your
updated.
phone?
I'm sorry?
Was it from your phone or your PC?
It was the first time was from a tablet. It was from an iPad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Tablet and mobile, I've had issues with that too early on.
Oh, really? Okay.
Mhm.
Sometimes when you mint, it will take a little while before it shows. Sometimes it'll even show like a broken logo or this item has no description. But if you wait, sometimes, well, for me, every single time I've waited and then it has appeared correctly.
Yeah, I told artists
Ah.
that too. I would tell them, wait a little while, because that's exactly what happened to me as well. But that's, along the lines of some of the stuff we want to do is content around that, like a really easy to follow, these are the issues we've had and these are the fixes, and lead them to our Discord, or, because, yeah, ways that we can be useful and helpful.
A video will be great, I think, like a video explaining the issues that you might encounter, but not really issues. It's just like, you gotta wait it or you gotta do this, like, I think that would be great. Yeah.
And the community forum is great for that, but it's nice, like even within there, you see a lot of people asking the same thing, and just like a little video, like we're going to create a Cradle Collective YouTube as well, just simple stuff and answer their questions, and yeah, making it easier for them.
Great. Yeah, super useful. I think there's a lot of need for something like that. So great stuff. Great stuff. All right, so next up, I'm going to be just sharing some of those things we've been working on the token distribution. So let me just share my screen. So yeah, this is a work in progress. I was in the process of drafting up a forum post. So yeah, this is a sneak peek. There could be some mistakes or things like that, but this week, as well as last week, I was working with various people from the community, and also some people from 1KX and Coin Fund, which are investors in Rarible, on kind of revisiting how tokens are distributed within the ecosystem. So right now, the current distribution is 75,000 tokens on a weekly basis, 25% to the Rarible DAO, and then 75% to the buyers and sellers on the platform, proportional to the amount of sales that are made or purchases. Now, we worked on various different models, and different ideas were thrown about. What I think had the most traction after speaking to various groups is something along these lines. So I broke it down into two phases, and potentially there could be more. This will be an evolving process, but phase one would look something like this. So 75,000 tokens per week, again, same thing. 35% to the Rarible DAO, 15% to Rari stakers, which is something we've been talking about for a while. So staking rewards. And then instead of the 75% going to the buyers and sellers, the idea is to give 50% to the apps building on the protocol. So 50% of the going to the apps means that would include Rarible.com. It would also include any other apps building on the protocol. And the apps can then choose what percent of their Rari tokens they give to the creators. So in the case of Rarible, 100% of the tokens that Rarible would receive would be going to the buyers and sellers on the platform. So in the situation, for example, if you take this and you think about what the current distribution would be, it would be very similar to this, but it would be 50% going to the buyers and sellers just on Rarible.com, and then 35-15. If you imagine more apps building on the protocol, some apps might start directing 1% or 2% or 5% to the app itself, and then the rest going to the buyers and sellers on the platform. Or they could donate to other causes. Maybe the app wants to donate to carbon offsets or something like that. It really puts the distribution into the app's hands with it, which is kind of nice. because it allows, some form of competition between the apps to target different things. So that's phase one. And then phase two, similar to phase one, we would be introducing rewards for liquidity providers, ideally to consolidate liquidity. So right now we have liquidity on Uniswap, we have liquidity on SushiSwap. The one on SushiSwap is receiving rewards for the liquidity. So, we'd have to think about where we want to consolidate the liquidity. But the idea is phase two, we would start incentivizing liquidity so that, this would help with the price volatility of the token. And then, other things that were talked about that could be included in phase two are having a more dynamic reward going to the apps that depend on the token price and depend on the actual sales generated by the projects. And then, but it gets more complicated. So I think it's better to reserve this for a future phase and just start with, something simple that we can submit as a proposal early next week and set the ball in motion to move along these lines. So yeah, that's all I had to say about that. I'd love to hear thoughts or comments from anyone on this. And oh yeah, I can share the link. Let me share this.
Can I ask a question?
Yeah, anyone feel free.
So I'm not understanding that part of the apps too much, because like, for example, in our case, we're trying to make a complex within the Decentraland because I have land. I'm not sure if you mean like a way of kind of accessing the protocol. Is that what you mean by an app?
Yeah, so maybe you're missing the full picture because this is your first community call, but so Rarible has been working on the Rarible protocol, which is a protocol that allows other marketplaces to build on top of and other applications to build on top of. So the idea is that it would be those applications that are building exchanges and marketplaces on top of the protocol that that would be getting incentivized.
Okay, so because the thing is, like, our complex does show NFTs from people. So I'm not sure if that's, maybe I'm getting mistaken, but I'm thinking, because it's kind of like a marketplace, except that you are virtually, right? You go and see all of these things, and then you say, oh, I like it, and then I just buy it. Because right now how they have it in DCL is that it's kind of like a referral link where you click on it and it will bring you over. And with Rarible, we have a lot of issues. At least in my case, I have to reroute everyone to OpenSea because OpenSea is the only thing that I can access within DCL.
Yeah, I think we're probably talking about something a little bit different. What you're probably talking about are sales that would be generated on Rarible.com. If you pointed from Decentraland to Rarible.com and you generated the sale there, then you're eligible for Rarible rewards at that point on Rarible.com. So it wouldn't be considered an app in that case. You would be considered one of the sellers on the Rarible.com app.
Oh, okay, I get you. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Any thoughts or comments?
This sounds like a slick solution to incentivize, building apps on the protocol. So I like it a lot.
Thank you, Ari. Roberto, you're going to say something?
Yeah, sorry, like, how long will we expect the phase one to last? Like,
you mean until liquidity provider incentives are also added?
for example, yeah.
A month? I don't know. Pretty soon, I would expect we would move to phase two.
Awesome. Okay. And one thing that maybe was brought up is like, have we like figured out how these, yeah, like how do we keep track of those metrics? Like which are the applications that are generating those sales? Like would we look into maybe like a pre-approval process, or is it just like open for everyone, like permissionless?
That's a good question. I mean, it might make sense to have an approval process, like by the DAO. Yeah,
and
I'm not sure.
like, I'm thinking just because like what maybe also adds a lot of overhead is like constantly, verifying apps. Like at the beginning, not so much, right? But when, if things scale, having to pre-approve every single app might be a little too time consuming. So just one random idea, if like we could try to figure out some mechanics that are just permissionless, but also, are like a shield against like malicious acts. So
yeah, totally. I mean, I think eventually what we want to move towards is automating all of this. Right now it's kind of like a playground, and tokens and rewards are distributed on a weekly basis in a manual process. But yeah, I mean, ideally it's something that is just automated, and so yeah, I mean, I think having a whitelist could also be automated, if it was a whitelist that was like managed by the DAO. But yeah, that's a good question. I mean, I can put it up in the proposal. I mean, what do people think? That should we whitelist the apps, or should we look at all transactions, or?
I mean,
I will ask, sorry, you can go ahead.
Yeah, no, just to clarify, you mean whitelisting like the apps that are sending proposals?
No, whitelisting apps that would be eligible to receive rewards.
Oh, you mean that are building on Rarible?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, gotcha.
I was just gonna ask if there's such a thing as an approval, if they're building on Rarible, for me to think that you will need an approval it means that maybe some apps are not doing what they're supposed to do. Is that the thinking for needing an approval system?
yeah, and like if you look at it, so maybe for phase 1, we have 50% of the supply of all the tokens that are being minted that are up for grabs for anyone to to earn them. So like that's maybe an incentive for malicious developers that want to just trick the system. Like at the beginning, you have people just wash trading, so buying and like in circles to just generate the Rari tokens themselves. So there had to be a lot of group thinking to overcome that and to try to catch those people that are tricking the system, right? Like they're really just pulling the value out. So
oh wow,
yeah.
okay, yeah, that makes sense then.
But actually, I mean, whitelisting the apps doesn't really solve the problem, because I mean, even Rarible.com has that problem. So I'm not sure whitelisting solves it. But I agree that we have to fix that problem, or at least investigate it further. It sounds from the other proposal that was submitted around this, that it's a super complex topic, though.
It is.
Indeed.
Yeah.
Like the entire curation part is a very long talk.
Yeah.
Can I give a suggestion? I think it's worth like clustering from, let's say today we have around 20 projects on the NFT Builders Discord. So let's say those are already part of the ecosystem. Clustering by how they integrate the Rarible protocol under their project. And then app, there are different timelines of an app on the roadmap, like launching. Is it really like until your app is booming on iOS and Android and like 100,000 users are using every week. But like if you have an app that has like one person using it versus an app that has 100,000 users using it, there shouldn't be on the same level of like getting the same incentives, because obviously the one attracting way more users deserves more incentives and more like gas and attention and energy. So I would just try to cluster the ones that are already part of the Discord channel, NFT builders. From there, who already has an app? Is the app already deployed? Is it on mainnet? So just to put on the same page by project, like the speed of the project. And also, like sometimes you might have just an app that is not focused on the final user, but it solves, let's say, an Oracle problem that's super specific and this app is really necessary. Then it should be on its own cluster, like just one app doing that, but it's solving a real important issue that all the other apps need this provider. So just like, I don't know, it's hell of a job, like doing the whole research and analyzing how each project, but I wouldn't say app, I would say project, and then talking to each project, like, do you have an app or do you have a solution? What is your solution, and how it integrates with the Rarible protocol?
Yeah, I mean, the proposal is really focused on like apps, like as in like a marketplace building on the protocol. Right now, the thinking is that projects that are creating like a public good, kind of like what you're talking about, where many projects need something, like an example is an auction mechanism, or like you know, Harbinger NFTs, which, you know, might not have a marketplace, but it might be something marketplace use. Those would be funded by the DAO as a public good via grants, as opposed to receiving the rare incentives that are more for the exchanges and marketplaces building on top. So that's kind of how I segmented in my mind, like the clusters. I don't know if that's the right way. There are probably other ways as well, but that's kind of how I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, definitely. Like use case, marketplaces together, marketplaces, and they're like how many different capabilities marketplace A, B, C do have, and how do they differentiate themselves? Because sometimes you have like a marketplace just for video makers is different than a marketplace just for, I don't know, books. Even though there are NFTs, like they have different focuses and they're still like, it's important to have this diversity. So they're both very useful, even though like one public might be less than the other. So I don't know, like curated marketplaces versus non-curated marketplaces. Just like the more you can cluster, Excel, like segment, I think it's easier to then visualize and then compare and then see like, okay, this marketplace said they would be doing this and that on the next 6 months. And then 6 months later, just double check, did they deliver? They didn't, they just said, got the grant and never delivered. So
yeah,
a lot of project management, I know.
Yeah, totally.
Like to help like maybe distribute some other responsibility in the management, like if there were like ambassadors of these clusters, and those ambassadors perhaps the people who have the most like activity, and they can help like, you know, push forward some of these proposals, because like some of the vetting would also be helpful if it was done by, I think, by like a referral system of like who's already like, you know, participating is like, yeah, this would be a great project to onboard to kind of help, you know, just to kind of like spread out some of this responsibility in order to make it less heavy on like, you know, the core Rarible team, and then, you know, diversify throughout the DAO perhaps. I don't know if that solves the real problem or not, but
yeah, totally. Another thing I thought was interesting with the current proposal of giving the 50% to the apps or the marketplaces is that you sort of put the burden on, you know, figuring out wash trading and having like your gates, you put the burden on the apps, so that, you know, Rarible.com might, you know, we have our verification process and all that, and other apps might have a similar approach. Maybe an app you know, has like a very strict process for selling on their platform, and that's fine, you know, and they can distribute the rewards the way they want to deal with you know, spam and attacks and stuff like that. So it like decentralizes the problem a little bit, so that it, you know, it lets the apps deals with the problem within their own storefronts, as opposed to us having to deal with the problem across the board, which I thought was pretty interesting. All right, cool. There's just, I don't know, I don't think Masha's here today. So I think the only other thing on the agenda is just flashing the proposals that are in the pipeline, and just seeing if anyone wants to talk about any of them. There's quite a few. So there's RR2 phase 3, which was related to the staking rewards and all of that. There's the huddle in proposal, which is looking to add some staking elements to NFTs. There's a proposal to modify the weekly release of Rarible tokens, which, I mean, that's related to the conversation we just had. So I think that'll be sort of addressed with that proposal. Again, proposal to decrease amount of Rarible issued to creators. That'll be addressed with this new proposal. A proposal by Matt, new project and referral awards framework, app mining on the Rarible protocol, recruitment prize for protocol apps. So it's kind of like a decentralized sales process where people could bring in projects and get a payment or a reward for it.
Those two could be combined. The one I submitted in that one, it's the same thing we all just talked about, plus that.
Yeah, so there's some overlap. I think this one and then these two are going to be addressed through the token incentives, and then probably this one and this one are both related to kind of decentralizing the sales process and getting more people engaged in finding projects and then rewarding those people.
That's important, right? Like, so they're not going to be on the project, but they brought, you know, that project to us, an ecosystem that ends up being successful. You know, what does that look like in like an affiliate referral fee or something?
Yeah, I think it could be super useful, because right now, for the most part, like I'm doing a lot of the legwork there, but you know, part of being in a decentralized community is that we're all exposed to so many different things, and you know, on a daily basis on Twitter, I see things, and you know, everyone else is seeing something else. So there was a nice little prize for bringing in projects. It could be a really great way to help grow the ecosystem and the number of apps building on our protocol. I think the main challenge with this is just creating like a set of rules, or you know, a framework, so that it's very clear what the rewards are, and what the process is, and you know, what happens in the situation where projects don't deliver, and you know, like just a playbook for how this would work that is, you know, just outlines the process in more detail. But I'm pretty excited about this. We also have, I threw this up on the forum. Right now, the DAO has 100% in Rarible token, but people are proposing in US dollars. So, like myself, so I think it'd be great to have a little bit of DAI to be able to send out to projects. So that's a proposal to make that swap. There's a JavaScript SDK proposal by Roberto, and then another proposal by DAO House that was shared with me by Deacon. So
I have a couple questions / comments. So is the first on the JavaScript SDK, would that be to help with like is it just like helper functions for generating the signatures and helping with like the API calls to Rarible?
Roberto, you wanna?
Yeah, so I'm about to share the proposal itself, so you can take a look at it. But the idea is to initially create the interface for the SDK. So like starting to expose to different functions and buttons, if you want to say, that the Rarible protocol has. So imagine that there would be a part for minting, a part for the exchange, like creating an order, like accepting an order and all that. So the proposal is to start with the interface, to participate with the community, getting feedback. Does this look good? Is this something you can work on? Like, what would you change from it? And try to abstract the complex part of the protocol away from the developer, like from the outsider developer, so that we can have more people just jumping in and building cool stuff.
I think that'd be great. I know that Eugene on the dev call on Friday mentioned that I think Rarible internal team is working on some Swagger docs to make it so that you can more easily generate clients for certain components. So that might help. But yeah, in general, like I'm also just writing my own helper functions in the mystery drop library for the signing and stuff. So if I can contribute any of that to the SDK, that'd be great.
That would be awesome. Let's sync up in the maybe NFT Builders Club and just start bouncing out around those ideas.
Sure.
For sure, like love to get all of your feedback.
Yeah, because like we shouldn't all be rewriting the same helper functions. And then second on the DAO House one, I was chatting with Deacon about that one yesterday. I think the idea, I think last time he had demoed like the Nifty Inc. integration where a DAO can buy an NFT there. So I've been messing around with the DAO House minions this week as well. So I'm gonna help out there as well, so that DAOs can start buying and listing on Rarible. So that one's
amazing. Isaac is slowly becoming a Rarible protocol wizard here, involved in quite a few things. That's awesome to see.
Full-time job now, so.
Very cool.
Great,
yeah, super excited. A lot of different things going on and a pretty big pipeline of proposals. So looking forward to making progress. The other thing I wanted to mention, so Roberto, I want to thank you because Roberto was, I guess in his proposal, we were talking back and forth about the payment terms and how we're going to structure this payment. He insisted on having some sort of escrow. So it led us down a path of trying to find, okay, what escrow solution are we going to use and all that. So what we're probably going to do mainly instigated because, Roberto was pushing for this, we're going to likely deploy, right now we have a multi-sig on mainnet. So we're going to deploy a multi-sig on XDAI as well, move some funds to the XDAI safe, and then use the XDAI safe to do our escrow transactions with for payments. So I think that'll be nice to have because the transactions are going to be way cheaper, and yeah, we'll be able to do some interesting things on XDAI that's a bit easier to do than on mainnet. So thanks for that.
Thanks to you for bearing with me, dude.
I know, yeah, totally.
Long conversations, and like for my personal experience, like with what we've been doing with York, it's just that. So like we got the mainnet DAO, right, for like holding most of the funds. But when we need to do payouts in order to reduce gas costs, we just do it through the XDAI DAO, and hope that really helps out. One thing that I would love to see, like maybe added in the Rate Guild escrow service, is to allow different types of tokens. So just not XDAI or wrapped ETH, but also have like custom token, and maybe like move some of the Rari to XDAI, right? So it's the liquidity's there too. So it's lower gas fees to get Rari if you want to buy it from Uniswap or something, or HoneySwap there. Just
yeah, totally. All right, any other comments, questions from anyone?
Yeah, so we have a proposal to you, Eric, and we're also talking to the developers about implementing those Swift templates for the open API. I just wanted to check in, is there anything we can do you need anything more from us on the proposal side, or what's our next steps here before we go live, and proposing it on the board?
Yeah, let's connect after the call here.
Okay.
I'm a little bit booked up for the next couple hours. But sorry, but yeah, let's connect afterwards. We'll chat async and we'll talk about that.
Let's chat on Discord. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Awesome. All right, awesome guys. Thanks a lot for the call. It's always nice being here with you guys and seeing the progress. So thanks.
Great to see you all. Good luck.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
So.
Bye-bye.
Goodbye.